a treaty with us saying, okay, that's yours, don't worry. I know we're here, we're not going anywhere, but you can have the Black Hills. Well, fast forward, they find gold, and then they take the Black Hills away from indigenous people. Hang on, here comes a truck. Sorry. I'm reading some of the questions, by the way. Can you explain the history of Mount Rushmore in relation to the Native American community? I guess that works, yeah. So, old, horny, and they wanted to convert indigenous people to Christians, and the only way they thought that they could do that was to dehumanize indigenous peoples. That's why some of you, I hope, are aware of Indian boarding schools. The idea was to kill the Indian, save the man, which was to strip indigenous people of their hair, their language, their culture, their families, and they would try to convert them into white Christians. Okay? So it was conquest. It was conquest that started in a genocide. So we're asking that we get, we, I mean, we have for our land back, the Black Hills specifically, because it is so sacred to indigenous peoples, where our language began, where spiritualities began, where ceremonies began. That is our Jerusalem if we want to make a comparison. So it kind of helps people understand why it's so sacred to us. And we have to remember that we we've been here since time immemorial, right? At more than 10,000 years. So a lot of these places are ancient sacred places. Now, for white people, there's no ancient sacred places for them here with regard to their beginning. There's 1776 for us. These are ancient places, thousands and thousands and thousands of years old, and it's where a lot of our ancestors are buried as well. So it's Troy Aztec temples. I mean, there's. Let me explain this too. A lot of people like to jumble all indigenous peoples. Aztecs are not like Tulalip, are not like Oglala, are not like Oneida, are not. There's so many diverse indigenous peoples, right? The difference is the Aztecs made theirs. White people made Mount Rushmore in indigenous land. Huge difference. Um. Okay. Let me see. Why do I think people are protesting Trump's visit? Uh, People are protesting his visit because it's our sacred place, and he's coming to do this kind of nationalistic circle jerk on our sacred land. And I mean, how many insults can you give to the indigenous people? I mean, you already carved four white racist bastards into our sacred mountain, and here comes another racist bastard to our land to celebrate this country, which has consistently discriminated against indigenous peoples. Um, I'm just reading through these. There seems to be a good few. Um, Anyway, I mean, of course, people aren't going to understand, who indigenous people are right away. I mean, only now through social media do people actually understand that indigenous people are still here, that we exist, that we're on the res and off the res. 70% of Native Americans now live in metropolitan areas. Native women are 2.5 times more likely to be sexually assaulted than women of any other demographic. There's more indigenous people killed by police next to cops, next to African Americans, right? I mean, we have one of the smallest racial minorities, but yet we're killed by cops, exponentially. And this isn't conjecture. You can look up the information, just do the research on your own. Uh, Other noteworthy protests. You're an idiot. Thank you. It's whatever. Noteworthy protests, yeah, Black Lives Matter. I mean, we have to remember chapter 1, page 1, Christopher Columbus was a slave trader for the Portuguese ever before he fumbled this way. So he was a slave trader for Africans, came here, and then began slavery. Have to recognize the racism in policing and the attack on African bodies, and then near the reservation, like border towns, the attack on indigenous bodies. Let's see. Liberal lies. Okay. Let's see some of the. Okay. That's an interesting liberal lies. Okay, look it up, jackass. Um, I don't want to end. You want to end America? No, we're just tired of the bullshit. Seriously, it doesn't really is. Or lying about Christopher Columbus, or dehumanizing indigenous people in the form of native mascots. It's ridiculous that people don't do the research. All they got to say is liberalize. Well, do the research. The CDC came out, or the American Psychological Association came out and said kids, not just native kids, but all kids, are empirically proven to be harmed by the dehumanization of indigenous people. So and that's why they came out against native mascots. So it's not we're just trying to like be a party pooper or some liberal agenda. Look it up. There's science behind it. Do your research. Open a book. Jesus, it's not that difficult. Let's see. Um, okay, no, let me see. I think I see one here that okay, so this guy says I didn't read his question. I'm curious why was Charles Tribe returned to the Duwamish tribe. I'm not sure. And that's another thing. Not all indigenous people can answer every question about all indigenous people, right? We're talking about more than 570 federally recognized tribes. And that's not to, there's the state recognized. There's not unrecognized. So you can't go to a Tulalip and ask them specifically about the Seminole. Maybe they will know or maybe they won't know because there's not just this pan-Indian. My tribe is my tribe. Their tribe is their tribe. They know all about theirs. I know all about mine. And we're not going to be able to answer all of the questions. But if you want, you can email me or tweet at me and I'll look it up for you and I'll get you the answer. So how would you like to see the government do, or what? How would you like to see the government do in response, or what I like to see them do in response? I mean, we want the land back. I mean, we would love to have our ancestral land back. They took it from us wrongly. They signed, and I know people are going to say, well, conquest. Yeah, like, okay, hang on a minute. They signed a piece of paper, the Fort Laramie Treaty, and said, this is your land. We're here, but this is where you can stay. And then after that, they found gold. And after they discovered gold, they ripped the paper up and said, well, sorry, we're taking it back. So it's some communist BS. All right, jackass. Make a good argument. If you're going to throw it